gamers, hey moviegoers, what's going on guys? I'm the Messiah, this is Messiah Entertainment, and today we were reviewing Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan. Guys, I'm excited for anything with Christopher Nolan's name on it. I'm a big fan of his movies. And to see that he was taking on this, World War II story, I was really interested to see how it was going to turn out, especially after the trailers come out. And it was very, it's a World War II movie, but it was very ominous, I know a lot of times, the way he tells the stories, there's usually some weird twist in it. But I was like, it's a World War II movie. How exactly are you going to do like some kind of twist? And he manages. The way the story is told in a non-linear sort of way, the information unfolds in a way that, allows you to kind of be surprised by what exactly is going on. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's really thrilling, We'll see how a ship goes down from one perspective, then we'll switch back to another perspective of the same event a few minutes later and see, oh, that's what was going on before during this scene. And it really makes you sit there and go, oh wait, oh my god, wait, our main characters were on that ship I saw going down 10 seconds ago. Oh my god. And now you feel for the ship 10 minutes ago, and your mind starts clicking and connecting all the dots. From the minute the movie starts off with this big action sequence, not big action sequence, but with some thrilling stuff going on, it starts off with 3 different perspectives, and you're sitting there and you're like, how is this gonna connect? How is this gonna go to here and it's gonna go to here? And this doesn't look like it's taking place at the same time as this. They're playing around with the timelines a bit. There's some scenes that'll happen in the morning, then they'll cut to a scene that happens at night, and they'll cut to another scene that happens in the morning, and then you're like, wait, what's going on? Okay, so it's the next morning, and then it cuts back to the scene at night. So it's like, oh no, it's just paralleling each other. It really keeps you guessing until the end of the movie. Now, I would expect that with a movie with all this stuff going on, it would be confusing. However, I gotta say it's done in such a way that the entire thing made sense. Someone that I went with had problems staying with it. However, that person was sleepy to begin with, so they weren't really in the mood to really think about the movie they were watching. However, with me paying full-on attention to what was going on in the story, I feel like I understood everything that happened. There wasn't anything that just, kind of threw me for a loop and was, had me confused walking out of the theater. It was fairly straightforward. You know what I mean? So, I really like the way the story was told. You could have had just kind of like a linear story that just kind of plays out, and you show, you cut the 2 different angles, and, that'll show the 2 different perspectives. However, I think this way was a bit more effective. It keeps you thrilled, and it keps you on the edge of your seat wondering if, our main characters from here made it out. You know what I'm saying? So I really like that. First off, I saw this movie in IMAX. Because I heard some of the behind the scenes stuff, and they said IMAX was truly the format that you need to see this in. I would 110% agree. I don't think I've ever seen an IMAX movie before, but this one, it was definitely worthy of being my first time. To see all these, sequences happen, or some of the bombing sequences in complete IMAX, to see some of these plane dogfight scenes in full IMAX. The screen is huge, the sound system shaking the seat, you know what I mean? It just made the experience, you know what I mean? From the first few minutes of the movie, the gunshots rattle you. You're just like, what the heck is going on? You know what I mean? I really think if you have the chance to go see this in IMAX, go see it in IMAX. It's worth it. You know what I mean? I don't know how it would end up on a regular screen. I'm sure you would enjoy it just fine if you're ready for this kind of movie. However, I think IMAX is probably the way to see it. The story was on point. The characters, the interesting thing is, like I said before, it cuts to different perspectives. However, it just throws you in the middle of the action. You don't need the backstory of this person, and you don't need to know that they have a wife back home, they have kids back home, and that's what they're fighting for. That's not what makes you sympathize with them and makes you, hope that they survive. You're just with them. They're just people in a war, fighting for their lives, and that's all you really need at the end of the movie to really identify with them and really say, hey, that could be, me and my friends if maybe we were drafted into the war. Maybe some of your mind does the heavy lifting of putting a bit of their backstory together and saying, well, maybe they're just a regular kid from back home, and they were just forced to come here, or maybe they came here because they thought it was the right thing to do, but now they're in the situation where they're trying to fight for their lives. You know what I mean? That could be me or anybody else. So I think maybe that's a bit of it too. However, I think, you don't need the whole backstory thing. Just put these guys in the situation they're in, and we'll go from there. You know what I mean? I think I really like that aspect of it. That with the non-linear storytelling, it just, I think it kind of worked in, getting us invested in the characters. Now with this movie, I really like the fact that a lot of it, or if not all of it, I'm pretty sure it was most of it, if not all of it, was done practically. Meaning that there wasn't all this... Meaning that there wasn't a bunch of special effects, CGI, planes flying around. I heard they used cardboard cutouts on the beach to simulate that there were soldiers further down out of frame, out of the camera, out of focus. And which sounds completely funny because when I was watching the film, I didn't notice it at all. So they did an awesome job with it. But I think the fact that they used actual planes for pretty much the entire thing, it really helped. There's something about CGI where I love it, and I think it's able to take you places that you just wouldn't be able to go in a lot of films without it. However, I do feel like there's just a visual difference that your mind is able to tell between all the time or most of the time. CGI is getting really, really good these days, so sometimes it's hard to blur and it blurs the line between CGI and just really good like animatronics and stuff like that. But your mind just tells the difference between a fake plane that maybe it looks a little too smooth, or just the way that the camera's angled, it just doesn't look right. Something in your mind just clicks and tells you that's fake. With here, you felt everything like you were there in the moment. You know what I mean? Everything felt real, and you felt like everything was actually happening, which really is, I guess, another reason why I was always on the edge of my seat, because it really felt like real planes, which they were crashing into the ocean, were getting shot up, real boats were being blown up, people were actually flying into the air. You know what I mean? There's this really great shot, part of it's in the trailer, where he's on the ground and the bomb explodes near him and the dirt and the sand falls all over him. That scene actually goes on for longer in the movie, with explosions coming towards him, and there's a guy on the ground who actually gets blown up and his body like flies away, and it's like it really looks like his body got blown away. It's like stuff like this. I was just so impressed with it, and it really helps, I think, the experience. You know what I mean? CGI helps all the time, but I just like the fact that this movie was done mostly practically. I think it really helped at the end of the day. Now, in terms of the acting, I was really surprised by how good it was, especially with certain people like Harry Styles being in the movie. I remember when that first got announced, and some people were like, Harry Styles in a Christopher Nolan movie about World War II? Why? And I was like, listen, Christopher Nolan has, if nothing, like an impeccable track record. I don't think he would have casted him, if he didn't have, faith in his acting ability. And I was blown away by how really good he was. This movie, I gotta say, it relies less on like any kind of dialogue of any sort, and really just the actions of the characters, and I guess some of the facial movements and stuff like that. I think it mostly relies on that. The characters are mostly silent, especially early on in the movie. There's very little dialogue. In fact, there's one character that just doesn't speak at all until parts, pretty much later into the film. I don't think lines of dialogue were really exchanged too much between the main few characters until, I would say, like, I guess close to near like the midway mark. You know what I mean? So, and it's done expertly, it's not like you don't understand the characters. You get their sort of personalities regardless, you know what I mean? You understand, how each one sort of thinks. So, I was really feeling that. Honestly, at the end of the day, I feel like the experience of watching an IMAX was so good. I don't think I could find too many negatives with the movie. I know some people that I saw that were doing reviews, some said it was good, but it just wasn't their cup of tea. I thought this was a really great movie. if it doesn't get nominated for an Oscar, then I mean, the Oscars don't really mean much, because this was such a good movie. It's still only a little over halfway past the year, and you know, Oscar season hasn't really come up yet, but I definitely think Christopher Nolan should kind of be in the runnings for Best Director, you know what I mean? It's kind of crazy he didn't get it for Inception all those years ago, but I think if anything, he should probably get it for a movie like this. This was pretty on point. In terms of like war films, I would say maybe like Saving Private Ryan, Full Metal Jacket, but you know, maybe if I watch this again, this may be right underneath those two, you know, in terms of like my favorite like war films. Like, this was really well done. I really liked the way it was told, with the different perspectives of the people in the air, with Tom Hardy, to Harry Styles and the other characters on the beach, to the civilians in the water coming to help the soldiers out, you know, and then the way they all just come together so perfectly. I felt like they did a really great job with the whole thing. I think Christopher Nolan straight up knocked it out the park. I was super impressed. I love the hell out of this movie. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure you guys got your own. Let me know in the comment section down below. What did you guys think of Dunkirk? Did you love it? Did you hate it? As always, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, guys. Please check me out on my other channel, Directors JXM. We got cool skits and short films for you guys, including To Kill a Hero, web series that I did not too long ago. Be sure to check that out. I run a channel with my boy Johnny Lee. He has his own channel on JXB Entertainment. Be sure to check that out. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. I'm the Messiah. This is Messiah Entertainment. I will see you guys next time. Peace.